internet that shows up at the fastest. In today's world, the internet runs everything. It gives life to our businesses, our careers, our social lives, our health, entertainment, and so much more. The internet is how we keep up with the next person, the next business, the next technology, and the latest news. That is how we connect. We cannot afford to be disconnected. In a disconnected world, we lose time, relationships, money, and connections to the people who matter the most to us. Simply put, the internet is now the center of our lives. So when it comes to connections, you need the best. You need internet that shows up at the fastest speed and does exactly what you need, when you need it, where you need it, and is easy in your pocket. It needs to be affordable, available, and super fast. What you need is MTN TurboNet on Ghana's fastest 4G Plus network, MTN. What is MTN TurboNet? A super high-speed internet router with a special SIM and antenna that brings you the best internet service quality and speed. To get started today, purchase a TurboNet router at 300 Ghana cedis, register your special TurboNet SIM, plug in your TurboNet router, and you're good to go. The best part? You can connect up to 32 people to the same device, perfect for home and office use. Also, the data packages for TurboNet are super discounted, so you enjoy more for less. Buying data onto your router has never been easier. MTN TurboNet connects your MTN mobile number to your device, so you can manage your router remotely from your phone. Yes, simply dial *5057#, or just dial *170# to pay with your MTN Momo under the Fixed Broadband tab. It's that easy. No MTN number? No problem. Log on to fiberbroadband.mtn.com.gh or download the Router Management app to recharge. You deserve the best internet service possible, and that's why we did it for you. Welcome to the speed of yellow with MTN TurboNet. Welcome to MTN 4G Plus.
On this stage. But before we begin, I'd like to invite the MTN Corporate Services Executive, Mr. Samuel Cranting, to give us the welcome address. Please help me welcome him with a round of applause.
Distinguished panel members, CEOs and corporate executives, media partners, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to the 25th MTN Business World Breakfast Meeting. Today, I'm delighted to be here with you as we deliberate on a very interesting subject, which is often ignored by many, yet is critical to businesses. It is interesting that in Ghana, when we hear about location, some people usually think about directions. We all know the challenges with locating people and places using the Waakye sellers spot, the drinking spot, the white walled house behind the blue kiosk, the big mango tree, and so on. This is not what we are going to talk about today. This is bigger than this. Thankfully, due to technology, the world is changing at a rather fast pace, and with the right technological solutions, we get deeper insights about customer trends and needs. Beyond getting access to customers, there is also the need to get answers you need, when you need them, and this enables you to also deliver targeted marketing, amongst others. I will not attempt to be an expert in this subject matter because I'm here to pick more insights from our distinguished panel who have varying experience and expertise in the subject matter. It will be an exciting topic. I'm very confident that Kekit Roman, Amele Ampofo, Nana Osei Kwesi Afrifa, together with my friend Femi Osinobi, will share deep insights into the theme, Location Intelligence, the driver for business success. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I thank you all for the interest you have shown in today's session and look forward to a fruitful engagement. Enjoy the session and thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cranting. Now, before I introduce the panelists and the moderator, I would like to spend a few minutes to acknowledge MTN and what they are doing in this country. So I read in the newspapers 2 days ago that MTN is the largest taxpayer in the country. Largest taxpayer in the country. So it means that all the social services that the state of Ghana wants to do, we need taxes. And for one company to contribute millions, this is close to $1 billion, right, Mr. Ado? Or over $1 billion? Yes, to the state coffers. I think that's really huge, and we need to give MTN another round of applause. Now, we have in our midst the Sales and Distribution Executive of MTN Ghana, Eric Nsako. We also have the manager of MTN Business Division, Mr. Samado. And we have some other staff of MTN here. And if you've been following the data conversation and the data wars, you'd realize that it's only one company that makes you see a Ferrari for what it is. And that company is MTN. Some people have introduced things, and MTN is just going on. Recently, I got the Turbo Net. We went on a drive around 14 of the 16 regions of Ghana. And to test that MTN's promise was true, I took my Turbo Net along. And in all 14 regions, I got the highest speeds thanks to the MTN Turbo Net. So before you leave here, you need to get one. You need to get one. Now, I shall introduce our speakers, and then I'll introduce our panelists for the conversation to begin. The first speaker I'll introduce is Karthik Raman. He's the industry lead, Africa, Telco and Media for IBM Middle East and Africa. He leads IBM's industry services in telecoms, media in MEA, and he has 25 plus years of experience in consulting and technology services. He's a true believer that data, platforms, and advanced analytics will lead the journey to overall transformation and define our customers' success in the times to come. He loves yoga. He's a trekker. He's a struggling golfer. I can offer you some lessons in that. And a historian by heart. Please help me welcome Karthik to the stage. Now, the next person I'm going to introduce, if you followed conversations in Ghana, he's probably the most popular technology CEO in the past 3 years. And he leads one of the most viable technology companies in the country. He's Nana Osei Efrifa. He's the CEO of Vocacom Limited. And under his leadership, Vocacom's in-house addressing solution, Asasi GPS, was repurposed and scaled up to a national addressing system. He has experience in telecoms and other areas, and he created and implemented the MTN Value-Added Services Partnership Management Strategy. He grew revenues from an average of $100,000 a year to $1.2 million a month. Please help me welcome Nana Osei Kwesi Efrifa. And he knows everyone's home because he runs Ghana Post GPS. Now, the third speaker, ladies and gentlemen, is somebody I've been following for a while. She's Amele Ampofo. She's a futurist, strategic thinker, and a creative individual who is born with a unique ability to see possibilities. Truth is, the first time I heard her name, I'd gone to Dubai for a multi-choice Africa digital strategy session. And somebody presented on futuristic, some long topic B, I don't really remember. And one of the names he said we should look out for was Amele Ampofo. She's the Senior Manager, Customer Analytics, MTN, worked and consulted for a lot of institutions, including the World Bank. Please help me welcome Amele Ampofo to the stage. Now, our final speaker, who also doubles as a moderator, I don't know whether I should introduce him the Niger style or the Ghana style. If I'm to introduce him the Niger style, I'll say, ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome the Oga, the Oshobaba, the man who has odolorized technology in Africa, Nigeria, and Ghana. He's Femi Oshinobi. He has more than 20 years of experience across telecoms and consulting in Europe and Africa. He's a partner and the leader for analytics, AI, and innovation for PwC West Market. He's currently building an innovation center, the first of its kind for a Big Four professional services firm in West Africa. His profile is so long that I'll just tell you to refer to what is here and give him a round of applause to join us on the stage. Femi shall take over the program and moderate. Later I'll come, so we have the Q&A, we have the wow moment where somebody will go home with a TurboNet from MTN. In fact, 2 people. Someone will go home with an iPhone and some other prizes. If you are ready, please put your hands together for Femi as he takes over to moderate.
Hello. Good morning, and thank you for coming to this session today. This is an interesting topic. It's it's now and the future. So people talk about the future, and I prefer to say the future is now, because we've been talking about emerging technology. It's no longer in the lab. We've been talking about LI. These things are no longer in the lab. They are happening, and our future is actually now. So today we're going to be focusing on LI, location intelligence, and I'm not going to take the shine of these 3 people. Just to moderate this session. I will come in once in a while if I can. They've been introduced, Mel, Karthik, Nana. I think they will do justice to this theme today, which is location intelligence and how it affects, how you can actually positively drive business outcome. What is LI before I hand over to them? It's actually, there are several definitions to LI. It's a methodology to, using location data to derive business outcomes. And this is actually by using a lot of geospatial data to make this happen. There was actually an article by Forbes in 2018, which is, and the article was about what's new in LI. But one thing that came out of that article is that 68 to 70% of a lot of companies, telcos, technology companies, banks, says, their businesses will be positively impacted by location intelligence, and they're expecting increased revenue growth through LI. I'm going to hand over to probably starting with Mel this morning. Let's throw more light. What is location intelligence? Mel.
I like to look at location intelligence as a hybrid of business intelligence and geospatial technologies. And I'll demystify that. On one side, you have business intelligence, which allows organizations to gather varied sources of data, use systematic processes and analytical applications to transform those varied sources of data into actionable and meaningful insights for the purpose of decision making. On the other side, we have geospatial technologies, which include internet mapping tools as Google Earth. We have global positioning system for collecting coordinates. We have remote sensors collecting satellite images all around us. We also have geoinformation systems, the software, which actually powers location intelligence. When we put the two together, business intelligence, which helps us solve problems in businesses, take decisions, and we put the geospatial technologies, any of the ones I've mentioned, together, we get a location intelligence platform. Now, we've all been able to use and understand business intelligence from what is happening in my business, what are the trends, where are we heading to what's likely to happen. But when we plug in geospatial technologies into our business intelligence, we are now able to move from an internal perspective, just looking at the business on its own, and we are able to embrace the external perspective, bringing applications, areas like population, demographics, movement, traffic flows, crime hotspots, and so on, into our business. And it gives us, I like to refer to it as a third dimension to the business issues. So you're able to solve problems better. An example of location intelligence that most of us are familiar with is Uber. So Uber is solving a problem of demand and supply of city rides. Another example is if we're moving from Movenpick to airport, you might use Google Maps. That's a decision for the best route to take. Businesses also use location intelligence to answer the questions, where do I place my next retail outlet? Where are my target segments for a particular product? So the where element is what location intelligence allows us to answer. And it's evolved over time, because once upon a time, you would look at business intelligence systems, the analytics tools to understand business trends. And then you might step out into maybe a mapping application to also look at specific locations where there will be opportunity. But with the advancement of technology, these two have been put together, integrated thanks to APIs. Now you can integrate and have a third dimension of the business. So that is what location intelligence is about.
Thank you, Mel. I'm sure the other two panelists will still have something. It's a topic that we can, we can discuss this the whole of today. So you are the IBM man, the technology man. From your perspectives, what is LI?
Hi. Actually, to start off, she actually robbed my point. Yeah, so this again brings down to the relevance of this topic. Time and space coordinates, locational intelligence, right? She's in the right place, so that's it. So taking on and expanding from what Mel said, that deriving meaningful insight from geospatial data, right, is one definition of locational intelligence. In my view, it is the collaboration of people, data, and technology with geospatial data or geospatial information. She touched upon it very beautifully in one of the points, that if we open this out, what does it really come down to? The 5 W's. What are the 5 W's? Who, when, where, what, and why. The who and when is data which is coming out from traditional subsystems. I call it business intelligence, business report layers. As a telco guy, it's coming out from your BSS information systems. The where component is the locational intelligence. It gives you that very strong dimension of location to the who and when. The what and the why is the next phase of this journey. And in fact, I would like to decompose that more, because when we look at location and we look at where we are as any provider, it is the customer who is at the center of all activity. So if we need to tap that customer, no matter which businesses we all are, we could be in banking, we could be in telecoms, we could be in public sector, but at the end of the day, we want to know what and why. What can we give these people? Why are they taking a particular behavior? I would like to add some insights to that as part of this conversation. And this would be my largest answer to what is locational intelligence from my point of view.
Thank you, Karthik. Nana, as the digital addressing man in Ghana, can you share some perspective in terms of what your understanding of LI is here?
I think from my perspective, I would like to look at it more from a businessman's perspective, because I am more interested in the money than anything else. Location intelligence primarily is where do I put what business to make the most money or the most impact. That's basically what it is. So if I know where to put it, then definitely I will have the most impact or make the most money. If you speak to anybody who is into real estate, the first thing they tell you is location, location, location. The whole idea of this is if you get the location right, the rest will follow. If you get it wrong, everything else falls apart. That primarily, having the right insight about the right location is what location intelligence is all about. My first real interaction that gave me the thought that actually investigating and getting better insights about location was so fundamental was when I had to deal with Grameen Foundation. So this was a foundation that was committed to maternal health. Now we know anytime there's any foundation that is doing anything to impact lives, it's always happening above BA. Everything is northern region, northern region. And here was a company that had come, at that time I used to work with MTN, had come to MTN to seek support for maternal health. And they were talking about Senyabreku. And Senyabreku is just a few miles down the road from Kasoa. And I thought, who could be so poor in Senyabreku? But the statistics were shocking. They had real problems there. Yet, 90% of all our monies are getting channeled elsewhere. Overcrowding in places of funding because we are lacking the basic intelligence about what is happening in other places. So from my perspective, I mean, I am a for-profit businessman, so I'm more interested in where I make the most profit. About 10 years ago, Kasoa was becoming the thing. Around the same time, Oyibi was becoming the thing. The main issue was which of the two places was going to be the main place the rest of Accra was going to be going to. Any business that had the right intelligence, and I am proud to say MTN did, to invest heavily in Kasoa, made the most money. Location, location, location.
Thank you, Nana. That's a businessman talking, yeah. So I'm sure he knows what he's doing to set up his businesses in the right place. Before we actually, delve into some of the practicalities, a lot of people have heard so much about business intelligence in the last 20 years. I've been part of it, setting up data warehouses, BI, and everything. Now we are talking about LI. Mel, I'm coming back to you before we go into some practicalities of what LI is. What's the synergy between LI and BI in reality? I know you probably have mentioned it, but I just want people to get some clarity.
So as I mentioned before, the differentiating factor is location. Business intelligence looks at situations from a business perspective. Location intelligence allows us to bring information, insights out of the business into the business. So location intelligence is a form of business intelligence, but the differentiator is the location or geographical analysis component. And I'll use an example from Amazon. When Amazon bought Whole Foods in 2017, a lot of people were surprised why a well-to-do e-commerce business would sadly step into the brick-and-mortar business. It was later explained that by location specialist Devon Hopkins that it had nothing to do with retail, food retail, but it was actually to leverage the location analytics, location intelligence that Whole Foods had built. So it was an opportunity for Amazon to bring in the demographics, population, traffic flows as a way of bridging online with offline. So you realize that Amazon has specialized in data analytics. You buy something on Amazon and they can tell you what else to add, or who bought what, and so on. So they had mastered that space. But they still needed to understand their customers beyond the touch points that the customers gave them. So it was an opportunity to bring in location analytics by acquiring Whole Foods. So that is showing us how important location is, even for those in e-commerce, for businesses, to be able to bridge the two. And that's why I mentioned that geospatial technologies are the tools and applications that allow us to bring that external perspective, those insights into the business. Otherwise, you just focus on making the shareholder happy, and then you leave out the customers. So I see location intelligence and business intelligence coming together as a customer-centric tool. That is how the two are bridged. So there are so many applications. Data scientists, software developers are all looking at the opportunities of location intelligence and bringing it back in. And if I use the MTN example, about 10 years ago, when we're probably about 7 million subscriber base, it was simple to look at trends and give solutions. But as our subscriber base increased, you realize that it became more challenging for us to understand the customer within their space. So the integration of our business intelligence then with, at that time, it was just basic desktop mapping solution, enabled us to actually understand from an external view what the opportunities, which segments to target, and so on. So that is how business intelligence and location intelligence are put together today.
Thank you, Mel. Karthik, anything to add to that, the synergy between LI and BI?
I have a completely different expansion to this point. And one of the points which Mel spoke about is how do operators, now I'm not talking about a telecom operator, I'm talking about any businesses, go beyond what they know about the customer. Like, for example, I was with this gentleman on the table. So the gentleman is saying that, you know something, I have sold product A, product B, product C to this customer already. How do I sell more to him? I have only, whatever, 15 million, 25 million subscribers today. Those subscribers are not going to increase suddenly. I could be a bank, I could be a retailer, I could be a telecom company, I could be an oil and gas company, could be anything. The population is not going to suddenly boom and going to consume these services. So any business today is going to see, how can I go deeper? That's how I'm taking this back to the 5 W's I spoke about. So the first 2 W's are there, are given, are information which you already have. So location has now taken this to the next step. As we go on this journey and evolve and get into artificial intelligence, right? The whole method of taking this large amount of data and making sense out of that data and monetizing that data is what this whole business world is all about. So let me give you an example for that. 2 days ago, just before I came here, I'm saying this and I'm trying to connect the dots, that today it's all about being able to build an ecosystem, being able to enrich that ecosystem, and try to get data out of it. Yeah. Another example, you know, myself and my wife and my son, we go shopping. We go to a mall. Yeah. My wife is a ferocious shopper. Yeah. So she goes brand 1, brand 2, brand 3. You know how women are, right? So they are there. I am a Man City fan, for all the Liverpool guys there. Yeah. So, and my son is in his own zone, like all other kids of that age. How does the retailer reach out to me with a segmented offer, right? Which will expire in, say, 1 hour's time. And I'm kind of making this up as I'm speaking, but that's where the monetization game is. It's a combination of location, combination of traditional information, but it's an enriched customer profile of myself, my family, and my ecosystem. So if the retailer understands that, here is Karthik, this guy's a Man City fan, let's try to sell him some merchandise. And at the same time, his wife is a ferocious shopper, let's give him, let's give her deals in brand 1, brand 2, brand 3. And the son is in a music zone, let us give him some special discounts. All this is location based. If you come in the next 1 hour or 2 hours, this is there, or this does not expire. Trust me, mates, this is not a first world example. These are examples of what is happening in Africa, in and around you, and technology is completely ready to harness this combination of data, technology, and people.
Thank you, Karthik. Nana, anything to add briefly before we move to the next question?
I found Kathy's point very, very exciting, and it's one of the things that I think we can really work on right now. I mean, we are not talking far in the future. Because when you consider, take my telecom provider, plus me taking a stroll. I consume a lot of Google, I'm doing a lot of searches, specifically relating to writing code. Now, this information is staying with my telecom provider. They know I visit a lot of websites that are, call it the coding community website. So if you are building a profile about me within my telecom environment, 9 out of 10, I am someone who is a technology enthusiast and a developer. Now, assuming MTN shares that data with CompuGhana. So I am walking through the Accra Mall. There's a CompuGhana shop there. Once I am close to it, CompuGhana has a deal with MTN that says, anybody who is a technology enthusiast working within a 5-meter range of my shop, send the person a discount code to buy the latest IT gadgets in town. Actually, I had a personal example where one day I walked into CompuGhana, not as my CEO with my nice suit, but wearing my normal t-shirt and jeans, and walked in and said, oh, I want a laptop to buy. I was shocked at the kind of laptop they offered me. Maybe it was because I wasn't looking the part. But that is the problem. There's no synergy between the companies. Now, if CompuGhana had known that I was such a technology enthusiast, forget the fact that I'm a big man CEO with plenty of money, assuming, if they had known, they would have immediately, through the prompting of the telecom provider, at that location, me walking around that area at that time makes me a prime candidate for the latest gadget in town. This is how you merge location intelligence with BI. And this is how we all get to make more money.
Thank you for that insight, Nana. I'm coming back to you, Mel, which is going to be very MTN specific now. Okay. How is actually LI helping you with your rollout of your network?
Location intelligence is the platform on all the decisions that we take in MTN. Yeah. And it starts right from the planning to the customer's engagement with the customer. Now, we are supposed to provide products and services on technology. Before we do that, we've got to understand the population, the demographics, the different age cohorts who would need a particular technology over the other, because you would understand and appreciate that not all locations, not all segments require the same service. Someone needs 2G, someone needs 4G plus, someone needs fiber. So as a starting point, it becomes a way for us to decide and plan where we deploy our services. Once that is done, there's the need to now engage, commercialize whatever technology we've brought up. At that point also, we use it to collaborate amongst divisions, because you understand that everybody plays a part in the commercial rollout. So where do I sell 2G against 4G plus? Where do I sell fiber? So if that salesman steps out, right on his device, he could be on his phone and his iPad, you get a view of where all the technologies are. So today they are comfortable going out and knowing what to sell where. They also have the opportunity of knowing which segments to target, where they are. And for us, it's to go out and make the customer's life a whole lot brighter. Where are the customers and how bright can we make their lives? What industries are they in? So whilst we are bridging the rural-urban divide, within the rural also, we are closing the gaps on things like gender, similar to our SDG goals now, because it's to empower people. So it's about understanding the customers. It's about understanding the way they behave beyond our touch points. Because as I mentioned, business intelligence gives us an understanding. Yes, as Nase mentioned, he spends X amount. That's all that we know, but we don't know what he actually does. And it's location intelligence that provides us with that information. Sometimes we don't have all the data, but just knowing where somebody is located is even an insight. So location defines the customer. So it allows you to get a 360 view. Many are of the opinion that 360 is about what you see internally or what you are able to get from the touch points, but it goes beyond that. You want to understand neighborhoods, you want to understand communities. So that is what we actually use MTN for, to understand people. And in our belief that everybody needs to be connected, we keep monitoring where there are gaps. And I mentioned the rural as a particular example, where we try to understand which rural areas need more coverage. And it becomes the point, it becomes a way for us to decide and plan where we deploy our services. Once that is done, there's the need to now engage, commercialize whatever technology we've brought up. At that point also, we use it to collaborate amongst divisions, because you understand that everybody plays a part in the commercial rollout. So where do I sell 2G against 4G plus? Where they are. And for us, it's to go out and make the customer's life a whole lot brighter. Where are the customers and how bright can we make their lives? What industries are they in? So whilst we are bridging the rural-urban divide, within the rural also, we are closing the gaps on things like gender, similar to our SDG goals now, because it's to empower people. So it's about understanding the customers. It's about understanding the way they behave beyond our touch points. Because as I mentioned, business intelligence gives us an understanding. Yes, as Nase mentioned, he spends X amount, that's all that we know, but we don't know what he actually does. And it's location intelligence that provides us with that information. Sometimes we don't have all the data, but just knowing where somebody is located is even an insight. So location defines the customer. So it allows you to get a 360 view. Many are of the opinion that 360 is about what you see internally or what you are able to get from the touch points, but it goes beyond that. You want to understand neighborhoods, you want to understand communities. So that is what we actually use MTN for, to understand people. And in our belief that everybody needs to be connected, we keep monitoring where there are gaps. And I mentioned the rural as a particular example, where we try to understand which rural areas need more coverage and what technology can we deploy, which homes have gone beyond or in the top range of using data and therefore would want to move from 4G plus into fiber. So as we continue to roll out, we use location intelligence to understand the customers.
Thank you, Mel. I'm coming back to you, and I'm probably going to move away from telecoms because I know there are a lot of non-telecoms people, banks, insurance people here, and we're going to move to that shortly. But I want Karthik's perspective. All these things she's actually talked about could hardly happen without companies like yours, technology providers, actually enabling all these things to happen, location intelligence. So how are companies like IBM, helping to support location intelligence in reality?
So the whole technology world today, I mean, I'd like to give a little different way in which technology companies are looking into this. As things have evolved from traditional systems to what I call as artificial intelligence-based systems, yeah, you can see that happening in every facet, right? Frameworks are getting developed. All technology majors today are creating frameworks, are creating architectures which are a lot more simpler for adoption of these third parties and adoption of these ecosystems. If you see today, if you see the Uber generation, or let's say Airbnb, you take any of these so-called disruptors, all these disruptors have one thing in common. They're extremely nimble-footed. Yeah? So for them to be nimble-footed, you need to have back-end technology support to take these new sources of data. I call them structured and unstructured data. So is there a way in which I can take this unstructured data inside? Yes. Today technology majors are completely ready. Technology companies, there are lots of entrepreneurs who are into software development of small APIs, small integration points, and they're creating libraries for themselves, and they're monetizing those libraries to the vast market. So the whole world is moving towards a Lego type of a system rather than the monolithic, everything is in one system here and everything is going to be there and be proprietary by nature. Is moving to a lot more open source from a technology point of view.
Excellent. Thanks, Karthik. Nana, I know you run Vocacom, yeah? And you're into